Welcome to the Containment Zone. Tonight's anomaly cannot be described, not in writing, not with words, because if you do, it comes. SCP-2521 is not a creature of this world. It is not bound by walls or doors or perception. It is not attracted to sound or blood or heat. It is attracted to information, specifically, information about itself. Say too much, write too clearly, and it finds you. No alarms, no breach sirens, just absence, because when it arrives, it doesn't leave wreckage. Only void. It does not need to break in, because it was already there, waiting for the right sentence to pull it through. This file exists only because someone broke the rule. They described it, and it came. It began with a researcher who wanted answers. Level 2 clearance. Routine task. Assigned to analyze an unclassified anomaly. A shadowy entity marked for low priority. The report was simple. Seems harmless. No known physical contact. Resides in a non-standard space. Drawn to written references of itself. He wrote the first full containment log. A complete entry. Physical description, behavioral notes, visual sketch. 37 minutes later, the lights in Research Wing C flickered. No power failure, no breach alarms, no motion sensors triggered. When the maintenance team arrived, they found the office empty. No signs of struggle, no blood, no damage. But the report? Gone. Not shredded, not deleted, erased. Not just the document, every record. Hard drives were blank. Paper copies vanished. Backup servers wiped. Security footage in a 10-meter radius was corrupted, visually smeared, like someone had dragged a paintbrush across the digital frames. On one screen, for just a second, a black, elongated shape appeared in the corner. Tall, thin, tapering into nothing. Clutching something close to its chest. Not a weapon, not a tool, a piece of paper. Then, static. The office was sealed. Staff rotated out. The Foundation began referring to the event only verbally. New logs were created using diagrams, icons, and wordless notations. Because by then, they understood. SCP-2521 does not just consume data. It consumes the context of itself, and if you say too much, it takes you as well. SCP-2521 is not confined to space. It has never been seen arriving, only being. It does not open doors, pass through walls, or teleport. It transitions in dash, slipping between the folds of knowledge, surfacing at the exact moment its name is known. You don't see it walk. You notice it. A flicker in the corner of your eye. A shape bending in the folds of shadow. A rippling distortion, like the air itself is trying to unremember something. 2521 is tall, elongated, limbs that taper like brushstrokes down a charcoal page. Its texture is not skin, but suggestion. Its form is not fixed, but felt. You know it's looking at you. Even when it has no eyes, you know it's listening, even when no sound is made. Witnesses describe a presence that absorbs light, pulling warmth from a room, like an open window in winter. It never rushes. It doesn't need to. Once a person begins to describe 2521 in written or spoken form, the countdown begins. The act of defining it calls it closer. And once it arrives, it takes what was said, not just the words, the speaker, the writer, the file, the memory, gone, not obliterated, consumed. There is no scream, no splash of blood, no broken chair, just a space where a person once was. And in their place, sometimes, a slip of paper, half crumpled with the last words they wrote, trailing off mid-sentence, as if they were still writing when it came. When the Foundation finally understood the true danger of SCP-2521, they did something they had never done before. They stopped writing. No documents, no files, no emails, no verbal reports. Because the moment someone tried to explain 2521 in conventional language, it arrived, every time. So containment protocols became experimental, daring, primitive. Researchers created an entirely visual code, a language made from symbols, lines, and motion. They called it icon script, a system of glyphs and pictographs used to convey intent, behavior, and danger level. Without saying anything at all, the file for SCP-2521 exists only in this format. It contains no subject name, no text, just diagrams. A tall figure, cloaked in dark brushstroke lines. An arrow drawn from mouth to ear. A figure vanishing mid-sentence. A broken pencil, a red circle. Always around the last image. Containment teams use silent gestures. Communication happens only via nods, expressions, or chalk slates wiped clean every few minutes. New researchers are trained using memory implants and visual drills. They are never told what SCP-2521 is, only what not to do. And still, there are accidents. Every 6 to 8 months, a new recruit forgets. They ask the wrong question. They write the wrong note. They say the wrong word out loud. And 2521 appears. Never violently, never rushed. It steps into the room like it was always meant to be there. It reaches forward with long, caressing limbs, and it takes the words, takes the speaker, takes the meaning, and then it leaves. The room settles, the researchers look away, and the cycle continues. Not out of cruelty, but out of compulsion. Because SCP-2521 does not act in anger. It acts with purpose. It is not hunting. It is responding to you. No one knows where SCP-2521 came from. And more importantly, no one knows if it was ever meant to be known at all. But theories persist, shared in glances, drawn in symbols, passed like folk tales between senior researchers. The most accepted hypothesis among Level 4 personnel is this. SCP-2521 is not a creature. It is an idea that defends itself, a self-regulating conceptual entity that thrives on secrecy and punishes articulation. Some believe it began as a cognitive anomaly, a single stray thought, a scrap of forbidden knowledge, or a classified concept whispered during the collapse of a long-erased civilization. Someone tried to define it, and it fought back. They believe that describing it gave it form, that containment didn't create SCP-2521-. Language did. Like a reflex, the universe responded to a thought it couldn't tolerate by wrapping it in a predator, a defense mechanism for the structure of reality. One theory suggests it may be older than us, pre-human, a sentinel designed not to attack but to erase awareness of something that was never meant to be perceived. Others argue that SCP-2521 is not alone, that there are others like it, conceptual predators that dwell in the abstract, feeding on knowledge, devouring understanding itself. What makes 2521 unique is its specificity, its obsessive targeting of those who attempt to know it. It does not punish curiosity in general, only curiosity about itself, a mirror that refuses to be looked at, a name that kills its own speaker. And maybe, deep beneath the visual codes and gesture-based briefings, the Foundation understands something more disturbing, that every new researcher who learns about SCP-2521 is a potential breach. Because one moment of carelessness, one typed word, one whispered description is all it takes. And then 2521 is not somewhere else. It is here. Research Post 04 was a silent station. Built beneath the Carpathian Mountains, it served a single function: observe SCP-2521 without triggering it. No spoken language was permitted inside, no written logs, no digital records, only carved glyphs, real-time sketches, and isolated memory transfers. 3 researchers lived on site, rotated monthly, trained in nonverbal cognition. For 17 months, the facility remained incident-free, until the night Dr. Shea arrived. She was new, brilliant, young enough to still carry the weight of why. On the 3rd day of her rotation, she noticed something unusual in the containment interface, a subtle shift in movement. SCP-2521 was reacting, moving through containment like it was responding to observation. She drew a report in icons, a warning, but it wasn't enough. Because curiosity is viral, even in silence, it spreads. That night, Dr. Shea broke protocol. She used a secure audio booth, believing the suit's containment field was absolute, to record a spoken question, one sentence. Can it understand us? That's all it took. Cameras showed a minor static distortion in the air behind her. A long, dark shape emerged. Fluid. Gentle. She never turned around. The booth's red light dimmed. And then the chair was empty. When the team opened the chamber, they found no trace of Shea. Her microphone had been erased. The recording was gone. The terminal wiped clean, including her personnel file. She had not just vanished. She had been taken. On a conceptual level, even her name, when spoken aloud afterward, triggered minor interference, as if 2521 had begun to feed on memory itself. After the incident, Research Post 04 was sealed. Its logs reduced to a final carved symbol, a hand over a mouth, a figure dissolving into ink, and below it, scratched faintly into the stone by one of the surviving staff. It listens even when we don't speak, especially when we don't. SCP-2521 had never made a sound, but that night, the entire facility felt quieter. SCP-2521 is not just a predator. It is not a monster in the dark. It is the dark itself. The thing that waits behind understanding, punishing those who seek to define it. Most anomalies break the laws of physics. Some rewrite memory. A few destroy minds. But this one, it punishes comprehension. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't chase you. It doesn't leave marks. It simply arrives, the moment you understand it too clearly, and takes. There is no fight, no escape, no negotiation, because what it hunts is not your body. It hunts the concept you carry inside you. The Foundation doesn't contain 2521 in the traditional sense. It can't. They don't even know if it has limits or if it simply chooses not to breach further, because no one dares to say too much. Its containment is a pact of silence, a whispered agreement between knowledge and survival. And maybe it's not an enemy. Maybe it is something older than fear. A firewall, a guardian, a reminder that some things are not meant to be explained. Some things must remain undefined, because the moment you try to control them with language, you invite them in. So if you ever find yourself tempted to describe what you saw in the shadows, to define the thing no one dares to name, to explain what shouldn't be understood, don't. Not for curiosity, not for glory, not for truth. Because if you do, you won't just lose the answer, you'll lose everything. Thank you for entering another anomaly in the containment zone. And if you feel a warmth behind your shoulder when you try to speak the unspeakable, don't turn around. You already said too much.